We were discussing over here that the neshama, when it comes down over here and it experiences the obstacles, then it reaches to the level of teshuvah. So it says, and then you get the higher level of your heart, the pnimius alev, which is higher than the seichel. Mamer azala yedua, as the known saying of our sages of blessed memory, the iker teshuvah believe that the main teshuvah is in the heart. Pirush. Teshuvah dafke, that it's only when you come to the level of teshuvah, who is galus pnimius alev, then you have the revelation of the inner of the heart. That then you get the inner of the heart, which is on a higher level than the avodah, even of tzadikim gemurim sheim b'chinas mechkinal. They serve the Eibishter with the level of mayach, but the level of teshuvah reaches into the higher level of leiv, which is higher, that pnimius alev, which is higher than the level of mayach. What is the teshuvah? The teshuvah is actually from it itself. This idea, you come to the level of teshuvah, is from the fact that you realize how you have descended into a low place. When he reflects the great, the powerful distance, the huge distance, Asher Yorad Ploim, that he has descended in a wondrous way to come down from such a high place into this world. While Gan Eden, even on the lower level of Gan Eden, Omer Razal, our sages tell us that how great is the Gan Eden we can have if we say that Mutav de Ledainu, that it's better to judge him, talk about the Acher over there, which means that it is worth it to go through the Gehenim. That's what Rabbi Meir said for Acher. At least he'll come later on to Gan Eden. We're talking about the lower level of Gan Eden. So you can see how great Gan Eden is, that it's Kedai, all the pains of Gehenim. That's only Gan Eden Atach. Gan Eden Helye, the upper level Gan Eden is even infinitely greater than the Gan Eden Atach. So that is something which the person reflects on and realizes how low we are right now from the Gan Eden, from where the neshama stood in the beginning, from the Gan Eden Elyon. So this is the level of Gan Edens. But what about the distance from the Atzmus of Ein Sof? 1 hour of teshuvah and good deeds in this world, and here we are. So, in other words, I'm not sure why he brings in this statement of Yov Shoachas Shuva Ma'asim Tovim Be'olam Hazeh. That's an advantage that we have in this world, right? But over here we're saying, again, maybe he's not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know, I mean, the Richuk Ma'atzmus Ein Sof is not, that's described it. And now we're saying Asher Miyofa Shoachas Shuv Ma'asim Tovim Be'olam Hazeh, from all the Chaya Olam Haba. So then he cries out. That's the idea of the shofar. So in Yanatkiya, this is the idea of the Tkiya, which is a koil portion Pnimius Alev. It's a simple voice coming from the inner of the heart, and the Achar Kach, and then we have the Shvorim. The Shvorim is Genuch and Gonav. That's like the sighing. Hainu B'chinas Leiv Nishbar. That's a broken heart. First he has the cry, then he has a broken heart, and then Utru is Yululu Yolil sobbing, person sobbing. That's the level of arousing great compassion through crying. And from this born out, and it extends the second tkiya to bechinas is galus rotzen helium umayla, which is the revelation of the supreme will from above. So that brings that's the order of the tkiyas. You have the cry out to Hashem, and then you have the sighing, then you have the crying, and then you have Yilul Yolil, and then you get the Hamshocha from which comes through the second Tikiyah. It's Galus Rotzen Olamad. Hine, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nikra Tzur Levavi, the rock of Levavi. Again, it doesn't say Tzur Libi, it says Tzur Levavi, which means V'gamkin Levavi L'Shem Rabbi. We also say here Levavi in a plural. The mashma beis levavis, which appears to mean two hearts. Hashem is the tzur of both hearts. V'hainu, what are the two? This is the inner and the outer of the life. Al derech moshel anal, as we said before, the inner and the outer. There's the lave that comes as a result from the chokhmah, and then there is a lave which is beyond the chokhmah. Kitzonis a lave u'lematah bazeh. The external of the heart is below the seichel, what the pasuk says, "B'chokhmah yosad oretz." So that means through chokhmah he founded the oretz. So the oretz, that's the kitzonis halev. Avo pnimis halev, but the pnimis inner of the heart, the b'chinas rotzen ha'elyon shel ma'al ma'chokhmah, that is the rotzen supreme will, which is higher than the chokhmah. V'chokhmah nikras b'chinas asiya, v'gabe b'chinas rotzen ha'elyon, and the chokhmah is called asiya. That's so much lower than the higher level supreme rotzen, the higher level of rotzen. Kidiksi, as the pasuk says, "Kulam b'chokhmah sisa." So that means that chokhmah is considered like an asiya relative to the rotzen of the higher lots. That's the higher level of the lake. And the tkiya, the level of tkiya, which is a simple voice, is galus pnimis alev. That is the level. So the fact is that it's simple, reaches the higher level. When it comes down in Oisyo's Torah, over there is letters, is words, is particulars, that's already shaped into a specific way, a specific letter, specific meaning. We have to interpret it, is detailed. But when it comes to Kol Pashut, that's the Pnimis Halev. B'chinas Adkishu Kol Pashut, or B'chinas is Galus Pnimis Halev, which is the rotzen of the above, which is higher than chokhmah anal, and that comes down. That's the koil poshu that comes following the isarusa dilatata from the person. Well, then Nemar about this, it says the posuk in Zechariah, "Va'adnai Hashem b'shofar yitqa." Adnai Hashem blows in the shofar. Just as by way of example, the simple voice comes from the pnimis alev. Likewise, by way of example, so is the hamshocha and the revelation of the rotzen ha'elyon. And that hamshocha is l'mayla mebchinas oishis shenim shochim ma'chochma. That's hamshocha which is higher than the letters that come from the level of chochma. The level of shofar, when Hashem blows in the shofar, that's higher than the hamshocha that comes through Torah, through chochma, which is Torah. Keraisim chochma nafkes. Torah comes from chochma. So when hamshocha comes through Torah, that means it comes from chochma. Over there, ve'ikra b'chinas oisius. It's mainly oisius over there. There's letters. Mamer Azal, that all of the Torah is full of the Eibishter's names. Everything is named his name. What does it mean? V'hainu. We're talking about the letters of the Torah. These are all Hashem's names. Those are names of Hashem. That's all the idea of letters, because Chochmah brings it down a letter. Hashem said Nikra Mosh Mikra Loshin. That's why we call the Chumash. We call it Mikra. It's Loshin Kriya. It's calling. Shekoyre Bishmoisam. You are basically calling every letter, every word is a name, and you're calling the name because that's what it's Kriya. Calling the name. Shekoyre Bishmoisam. And when you call somebody by the name, so a person turns. If you call somebody, turns to you. So if you're calling the Eibishter through Torah, the Eibishter turns to you. And Baal Kain, Hanegia Poiselba, if you have letters touching, in other words, letters aren't whole the way they should be, will disqualify the Torah. And also, if it's more or less, everything, because it's all about the letters. The particulars in the letters. The feed the Chochmas Nafkis, because it comes from Chochma. There comes the Oisius. So Torah comes from Chochma. The letters, the specifics are essential and important, and therefore we have all these details in the letter. When we talk about this galus of Rotzen Elyon, that is the inner of the heart, higher. That's higher than letters because it's not shaped by the letters. This is the idea. How do you bring it down? Through the shofar. So through the Pnimis Alev from the Yid, you're mamshech from the Pnimis Harotzin from the Ein Sof, higher than the level of Chom. So that's being mamshech. But on the top of that, in addition to that, through this hamshocha, that you're mamshech from the level of Pnimis, Alei from the level of Rotzen, he fills all the defects that took place through the sins from the past year. Where do blemishes take place? When you blemish in the 248 positive mitzvahs or the 365 prohibition, then you blemish in the level of Chochmah. Why? Because the Torah, which gives you the 630 mitzvahs, is the level of Chochmah. And that's up to there. They reach the Pagam reached the level of Chochmah. But by day, through the shofar, in which we're bringing down the Rotzen Elyon, which is higher than the Chochmah. That's why he fills all the blemishes that were made in Chochmah, because you're bringing a light from a higher place. And then you bring down a new light with more force and with more power, and that is able to fill all the blemishes. As the example of a river, a river that has been destroyed, the Yavish, it dried up. What do? So then you dig in deeper to find the water from beneath. And then it fills the lacking, and it actually makes it with more force. Because we have that force is going to come from the connection from the higher level to correct and fix the blemishes of the Torah, that the 630 mitzvahs that the person blemished. There are three knots that tie one to another. So you have Yisrael ve'iraisa v'kutsha b'richa. The Yidden connect to the Torah v'kutsha b'richa. When is that? When you keep the ways of Torah mitzvahs. I believe Chaz v'sholem pokam beis a mitzvah. But if, God forbid, he blemishes in some mitzvah, so then that tie in which a Yid connects to the Eibush, to the Torah, has been weakened because he didn't do that mitzvah. He's not connected then. So what do? How do you fix it? The kesher that a Yidden ties to the Torah has been weakened by the violations. Therefore, there is no other way. There's no other idea. That's the way of tshuva mumka deliba is to make up for that. Through the tshuva mumka deliba, medalig shur, he jumps over the walls. And you draw down from the level of kutsha. You bring down from the level of sevukul shenikra, who's called Kodesh Umavdol. He is Kodesh Umavdol. Uboy miskashroi raiso shu b'chinas chochma kulu. And in it, and with Seviv Kulamim, you tie the Torah, which is Chochmah, through the level of Seviv Kulamim. So you're mapshich into Torah from the level of Seviv Kulamim, where there was a blemish, and now you have the oil of Seviv Kulamim. By Yidei Zeh, Shakodesh Baruch Hu, Shekutsha B'richu Meir B'iraisa V'Yisrael. Through the fact that Kutsha B'richu lights in the Torah and the Yidden through, the Torah. Azai Memale Kol Avgomim V'Chesronis, then he fills all the defects, all the lackings. Mamer, as the saying, Amtu Shlimu Dechulu, you are the wholesome of all, the wholesomeness. Amtu Memale Kol Shema. You fill all their names, basically. That from the level of Am to the level of Sivukul Almim, you bring down the filling of, you fill all the blemishes and all the line. So, and this is when it says in the Pasuk, Vayaver Hashem al Ponov, and it says, Vayikra Havaya. So, it's Upsik time of Gavayu. So there is a interruption of a note in between, which means it's not two times a duplicate Havaya. Ikra Havaya. So there's like there's a stop, there's a Nikuda, which means two levels in the same of Havaya. That means seek time of Gavayu, there is a note, a tam, which is in between two Havayas. Kiyesh, Beis, Bechinas, because it's not the same, it's not repeating the same Havaya. Havaya and Havaya, there's two separate. Yes, Beis, Bechinas, Shemei, Shemes, Havaya. There are two levels of Havaya. Aleph, the Ishtalshalus. One is within the order, the evolution as it evolves. The Yud is Chochmah. The Yud is Chochmah, and the Hey is Binachulu. And the Shom, Hey Mabkomim are the Torah mitzvahs. And over there, in this level of Shem Havaya, of Sheder Ishtalshlus, of that Yud Kei Vav Kei, over there's blemishes. But she calls to be Kisva Rizal, but Krishma Shalamita, as the Kisva Rizal writes, when we do the Shema, on the bed before going to sleep. So there it says there is blemishes. The person confesses and he says, if I blemished, I defected the letter of Yud of the Shem Havaya. It says all the Shem Havaya from Ishtalshlus by Bittul Kriya Shema, by not reciting the Shema Chulu. So how does it be Mevatel, the Yud? The mitzvah Krishma is to unify in the idea of Havaya Chod. That there's nothing besides Hashem and everything is like nothing, is like considered like nothing. So if you didn't read the Shema, and one who's Mevatel is Paigim Beis Yud, Shubchinas Chochma, so then you blemish you cause a defect in the letter of Yud, Shubchinas Chochma, Bchinas Bittul, level of Chochma, level of Bittul, which is Koyachma. Chochma is the level of Bittul. And that would be the Bittul Oilamis, that would be the Shema. And you didn't know the Shema, you impacted and you defected the Yud. As we see that Chochma is the level of Koyachma, is the level of Bittul, Chochma is constantly found from Ayin. So, which means its level of bittul doesn't have its own existence, not an entity. But is always extended, constantly created from the level of Ayin. So that is the level of Yud. The person is battle doesn't do the mitzvah of loving Hashem. Then he blemishes the he blemishes the letter, the yitקע, the hey from the Shem Havaya. Shubchinas bina liba, avarava. Hey is the level of bina. Yud is chochma, K is bina. Bina is the level of liba, avarava, the great love. That would be the requirement. That would be ahavas Hashem, and if he didn't do that, he blemishes the hey, the level of bina. By day bittul Talmud Torah, and by not doing Talmud Torah, then is Paigim Beis Vav. Shav Lamshocha Kav Aruch B'Yud Shev'Reisha. Because what is the Vav? The Vav represents a long line. From the Yud of the top comes a line. To call a Torah, U'B'chinas Hamshochas M'Chochma Ilah. For all of the Torah is Hamshochas M'Chochma Ilah. Mevatel Talmud Torah, and one who wastes time of learning Torah, then you shorten the Hamshocha and you blemish the Vav. So that's why Bittul Talmud Torah blemishes the Vav. By Bittul Mitzvahs Maisius, and by negating and not doing the physical mitzvahs, then you paigim the last letter of hey of Shavah. So this is all the level of yitקע vavקע in Ishtalshlus. Kol ze u'b'chinas Shem Havaya deletato. That is all in the name of Ishtalshlus. B'chinas is havus Ishtalshlus canal, which is the creation and the level of Ishtalshlus, as I said before. Avol Shem Havaya Deleilo. But when we talk about the higher level, the Hashem Havaya above, notwithstanding that we still call it Havaya because there is creation from him. Nevertheless, it's still a revelation of a higher light which is above Ishtalshlus. This is the level of Ratzon Ha'elyon Chokma. That's why we have an interruption. So Vayikra Hashem, that's one level. That's Ishtalshlus. Hashem, which is higher Ishtalshlus. Ach inyan, what is it? Vayikra Hashem Hashem. He calls Hainu Shuhu Yizborech Koyre Umamshich Shem Vayikra Hashem Hashem, meaning that he blessed is Koyre Umamshich Mebchina Shem Havaya Orishe. He brings down, he calls down, he's Mamshich from the first Shem Havaya Shalamayla Mishtalshus Kenal, which is above Mishtalshus Liyesh Mizgala the Havaya Shem Mebchina Sayishtalshus, that it should be revealed in the Havaya of Ishtalshus. And in order to fulfill all the blemishes, this is V'ayim Mizebi Idra Rabbo, Davkuf Lamed Ches, Amad Aleph, V'ayim B'Sefer, Ruach Dovidshon, Pirush, over there he explains, Shashem Orishoin, so he says there that the first name is higher than Ishtalshlus. Again, Pirush Hamikdash Melech, B'Seif Sefer Hadras Melech. Ubebira Idra B'Sefer Kol Beromo, but in the beginning of the Sefer Kol Beromo, Mashma Dashem Hasheni Ulamayl Mishtalshlus. That is the second Havaya, is the one that Ishtalshlus. Boom, Apriyas Chaim Sharas Lichas Perik Beis. That's what it says like that. Vayim bezoyer shek parshas truma daf kufayin heyam et beis. Ve parsha bereishis daf chofa medalef u beitz chaim shar anal reish pei ches u beitz chaim shar arechampim. Okay, so there's a question whether Hashem, but the way that Alter Rebbe teaches over here is Vayikra Hashem Hashem to be mamshich from the higher level of Havaya into the lower level of Havaya lemalois kol abgomim v'achasroinus shenasu boy alidei avoinus, to fulfill all the blemishes and all the lackings that took place through the as it said earlier, the example of the river, Sheyavish, a river that dried out. That when you bring out and you dig from the well, the Nor gets filled. So that way, all the coming from a higher place, then it fills up. So when you're not tshuva, this is the idea of tshuva. Through tshuva, we call and we draw down the b'chinas havaya shel ma'ila meseder ishtalshelus, from the vaya that's higher than ishtalshelus. U'kameshikosu mimamakim k'nesich havaya. So I call Hashem from the depths. Lo chen evrim hayud gimel midas b'asar simet tshuva. That's what we say, the Yud Gimel Midas. Nasaris made Shuvah. Because Kioz Nimshach, Bechinas is Galus Havaya Shel Mal Mishtalshlus. Because then extends the level of Havaya, which is high Mishtalshlus. Shu Bechinas Rotzena Elyin Shel Mailam HaChochma. And that takes place, it's the higher level, the Supreme Rotzen, which is higher than Chochma. And that takes place that is the simple voice who is Galus Pnimis Halivkinal, which is the revelation of the inner heart. So the shofar is mamshich the same avaya from higher than the stars. And that's why we say the Gil Mitzrachim, and the Gil Mitzrachim, which is the level of higher than the level of Chochmah, higher than the stars. Sorry. This a shofar davke shel ayil, or shel yael. So it has to be. So these are all the ayil. It's a kind of a goat, the ayil and ibex, but the. He's saying it has to be the small animal, not from a bull, not from a big animal, not from a cow, only from a small animal. Abel Shapar Apostle. But if you use the one of a cow, the horn, It's possible. Why? So what's the explanation? Kipnei shoyer. I mean, by us, so that it's not called a keren. It has to have a fill. It can't be in one piece. It has to be. But the idea over here is kipnei shoyer masmil ksiv. The shoyer, the ox, the large animal, he is from the left. And it says by the Merkava, which is Shubakinas Gavuris. That is a level of Gavuris. It's a level of stringency. The Efsher Lahamshich Ayodei Kinas Racham Rabbanal, and through it you cannot bring down this great compassion. Shubakinas Pnimis Halev Rotzen Elyon. You can bring it down the inner of the heart, the Rotzen Elyon, the higher level. Ki Hare Adrabe, Smoil Doicha. Smoil pushes away. El Alidei Shofar Shel Ayil. Only through the shofar, the horn of the ayil. Ki v'hakvosim v'aksovim hifrid Yaakov. Yaakov separates. Yaakov's level is the level of Rachamim, Rachmonis. So v'aksovim hifrid Yaakov. The sheep, smaller and those of Yaakov separated. Sheyesh b'hem b'chinas Rachmonos. They have the level of compassion. Shehi midos shel Yaakov, which is the measure of Yaakov. U'kanira b'chush, as we see actually and vividly, so that sheyesh lam kol rachmonos shemayir rachamim, that they have a voice, call that arouses compassion. And therefore, because of that, that's why they say, that's why through the coil of the ayil, of the rachmonis of the sheep, we bring down the Rotzen Elim Racham Rabim, which is higher than the Ishtalshlus. Apostle Kaneshi Yoir Kulu, Apostle Bayim Ashlishi Yikumen. Hine Hagam Sheikiram Shocha. All right, well, we'll leave it over here.